Hello, this video is inspired by Danny, Books, Media, and Monsters here on TikTok. She made a video recommending 4 books to read this summer, and I have 2 of the books that she recommended, and I kind of want to expand that recommendation because I've read them and I really think they're important considering everything that is happening right now, specifically in LA. So one of the ones she mentions is Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis. And this book talks a lot about how the prison system here in the United States has become a business and how it targets specifically brown and black people. So this is very good. She mentions in her video, Danny mentions in her video, how chapter 1 has basic information about how the prison system works. But I mean, the whole book is a great source of information. Another book she mentions, and I would like to mention as well, is An African American and Latinx History of the United States by Paul Ortiz. I don't know what happened to my audio here, but okay, we're going to ignore that. So, in this book, the author links the struggles of African American civil rights activists fighting the Jim Crow laws, of Mexican labor organizers, worrying against capitalisms, and Latin American revolutionaries. It talks about the during the Great Depression and how the this what the government did is just basically repatriated, quote under quotes, a lot of the Mexican, including Mexican Americans, that they were just you know um, deported just because they were of Mexican descendants. So this is a very good book. This is one that I read before I actually got my hands on a physical copy, so I might do a reread and do a little bit of annotations on this one. Now, another one that I would like to mention that I read last year is You Sound Like a White Girl by Julissa Arce. This is Julissa's journey as um, uh, an undocumented person here in the United States. She was brought in when she was a little girl by her parents, but she also talks about other people and their experiences. So it's not just her own experience, it is other people and their experiences and how they've managed to survive, essentially. Um, this is a really heartbreaking story of how her own family, their struggles and everything, and how she's still managing to, even though now she is a respected author, she is a citizen, there's still struggles that are holding her back. Now, I have some other recommendations of books that you might want to read if you're interested in sort of the same subject. Immigrants or people of color, I recommend that you read American Like Me. This is Reflections on Life Between Cultures by America Ferrera. But as you can see, these are stories. These are stories of immigrants that have come from all over the world. And she didn't stop at just Hispanic or Latina people. We go all over the world with this one. I read this one a long time ago. I think was when it first came out, and this is a really good book to read. Just short stories about, not stories, but actual true stories. Also, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about why or how we're in this situation and why the people vote the way that they voted, um, sometimes maybe voting against their own interests, I would recommend that you read Defectors by Paola Ramos. And this is The Rights of the Latino Far Right and What It Means for America. This is a very good introduction, I would say, of how the Latina community is now voting against their own interest, you would say, or against their own people. I would say I hope that this is not the only book that they come out with. I hope that there's more, that they would write a little bit more, because um, this is kind of like an introduction. I really hope that they do a lot more work on this, and especially with the situation right now, I do hope that there's more, because the writing is really good. So if you are interested to know another part of history, another part of our history, where a group of people have been um, ostracized, and you can read They Call Us Enemy by George Takei. I'm sorry, I'm saying the last name wrong. Takei. This is a graphic novel, and this is a young adult graphic novel, but George talks about his experience as a Japanese American, and how him and his family were taken to a concentration camp here in the United States. So, I mean, if you think, these things can happen again, just look around you, just open social media and you'll find out that this is not too far fetched. And so, yes, this is another one. This is, even though it's a graphic novel, this is the true story of George's life. So, I highly recommend, if you have younger people in your life, I highly recommend that you also read this with them. And yeah, um, I had, and I don't know if I had it, I probably have it in my classroom, but I have Esperanza Rising. That is a that is a fiction book. It's a middle grade. Also talking about the repatriation that happened in the 1930s. Um, and if you are Mexican or Mexican American, I do recommend that you read about Tlatelolco in 1968. That is a another peaceful protest that happened in Mexico City that turned into a massacre, and another example of how something that is supposed to be peaceful, a peaceful protest, can turn into a not so peaceful and violent um, situation when our leaders do not have our best interest, or they don't believe in the things that we are protesting for. I do have the book. I just cannot find La Noche de Tlatelolco by Elena Poniatowska. I also have, if you would like to read a little bit, Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is a fiction book, but it is centered in Tlatelolco, and her introduction um, talks about how, even though this happened in Mexico, the U.S. had some type of involvement. Um, so it's a really good book. I think this is definitely one of my favorites of Silvia Moreno Garcia. But that specific detail that she added there, it was like, oof, it was good. So those are the books that I think you should give it a try. I know there's more. If you have any recommendations that I didn't mention, please leave them in the comments so that I can also um, read a little bit more. And let's just let's just read and learn from our past history.